أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما آمين يا رب العالمين. Today inshallah we are going to learn the rhetorical benefits of using the passive. So, what are the benefits of using the passive versions? Why we use the active sometimes, and why do we use the passive sometimes? What is the wisdom behind the use of this passive tense and the active tense? So, let's learn about it. We know that every passive tense has an active tense. What is the unique feature of the passive is that the doer is unknown. We know that because in the active tense, we know that the doer is known. So when a speaker chooses not to mention the doer, the focus is usually shifted to the action or the object of the action, that is a NAHW file in the sentence. We have already learned how to make a faili madi from faili madi maroof, a faili madi majhool. We learned the rules, we did the examples, and we also saw the examples from the Quran as well. Here we can see duriba masalun. We know that, or in the passive tense, or we know that in the here in the active tense we have an inside door or we can have an outside door, which is changed into the NAHW file in the faili madi majhool or in the passive tense. And this is a first ism, you can say, which is in the marfu state, that is a NAHW file in the examples. So let's see what are the benefits of using the passive tense. There are three main reasons of using the passive. The number one is when there is no reason to mention the doer. Number two is out of respect for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three is expanding the scope of the action. So let's check some examples from the Quran to understand these three reasons. The first reason is when there is no reason to mention the doer. As we can see in the example, hujitum bitahayyitin, fahayyu. Here you can see, and when you are greeted with a greeting, greet in return with one better than it, or at least return it in a like manner. Hujitum bitahayyitin, fahayyu. So this command applies regardless of who is sending the greeting. There is no reason to mention the file. So if you're greeted with a greeting, then greet using a better greeting or return it. So there are sometimes wherever you are greeted, sometimes you are greeted by people that are not very pleasant. Sometimes you are greeted with people that you don't want to engage with or you don't want to mingle with. So it opens a scope and it makes you think that uh, in this ayah, you don't need to worry about who is who it is, just care about the act itself. This is how you're going to think. You care about the act itself. So basically we are not worrying about the doer. We are not worrying about the file, but thinking about the act itself. What was done? A greeting was done, right? Hujitum bitahayyitin fahayyu. So a greeting was done. We are going to focus our attention on that, and we are going to respond according to that. Whatever the circumstances are, whether you are meeting any stranger, whether you like the person or not, whatsoever. Um, you need to, it is your duty or they have the right on you that you should greet them in the same manner, you should respond with better, or at least you should be polite. So this is what it meant, that this command applies regardless of whoever is sending the greeting. We do not need to worry about the file. We should worry about the act itself. So there is no reason to mention the file. Again, There is another example of the same reason from Surah Nisa. يكفر بها ويستهزأ بها إذا سمعتم آيات الله يكفر بها ويستهزأ بها. And when you hear the verses of Allah recited, they are denied by them and ridiculed, so do not sit with them. بها فلا تقعدوا معهم. So do not sit with them. So here disbelief has been done in this ayah, or mockery has been made of the ayat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us and says, when you hear the ayat of Allah as they are being disbelieved or denied, or you see an ingratitude, or you can notice that, or it is shown that the mockery has been done, then you should not sit with those type of people. You should not sit in that gatherings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say that, or didn't mention that the disbelievers or mushrikeen or kuffar are involved in it, or they did it, the action, um, because even sometimes Muslims might do the same. They don't even realize it, they don't even feel it, that they are doing the mockery of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's words. So be careful about um, making fun or making jokes or being ingrateful for Allah's words. And when you see such kind of gatherings, so you need to walk away from that, or you do not have to sit uh, with them. So again, opening the scope here. Let's see here. وَأَنَّا لَا نَدْرِي أَشَرٌ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ أَرَادَ بِهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ رَشَدًا. And we do not know, therefore, whether evil is intended for those on earth or whether their Lord intends for them a right course. So here, this is the second reason. Out of respect of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can notice both urida and arada is being used here. Arada and urida. So what is the intent here? Notice that when the evil is mentioned here, asharun, the passive is used, urida. When guidance is used, rashada, the active is used and the doer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is mentioned. Arada bihim rabbuhum. So it is understood that the doer is the same in both the cases. And the jinn who says this is only associating Allah's name with good out of respect. So it is about when in Surah Jinn, when the angels just blocked or locked down the sky and the Quran was being sent down. The jinns were very confused because they used to do tricks up in the sky and between the earth and the sky, and now they cannot do it anymore. And because of that, they were very confused, and they were not sure that if the earth is going to be destroyed, or there is something good is happening, because they have never seen that kind of a lockdown before. So they said, Anna la nadri ashurun urida. You can notice urida and arada, both the active and the passive, are used here, but out of respect of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only the passive version of um, this word arada is used here, urida. So the evil is intended, because the jinns didn't want to associate this word with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this ayah also teaches us about the mannerism, or about the attitude and of us towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you are supposed to be very careful in how you are speaking about Allah, and should not attribute certain actions to Allah directly. May Allah make us careful about that. That Ameen. Now let's see the next or the last benefit of using the passive voice, expanding the scope of the action. Look at the ayah, lu'inu fi dunya wal akhirah, are cursed in this world and the hereafter. So again, specifying the file, restrict it to that one file. So that's why not specifying the file leaves it open and unlimited. Here, and we can also compare this lu'inu fi dunya wal akhirah with the ayah la'anahumullahu, where the doer is specified. So these are the rhetorical benefits of using the passive and the active voices. And This is how it is applied in the ayat of the Quran. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.